Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have your Sun in Virgo and Leo rising. We're talking about the elements of earth and fire here, and suffice it to say, they are totally different. The rising sign can indicate the way you dress, your mannerisms, your demeanor, the way you behave when you're in social situations, even like you when I said the way that you dress, also your physical um, body and the impression you give on others. And your sun sign is what you came here to become, the light that you came here to shine. We're talking about the sun and the talents that you may possess. And if we were to just like look at one astrological influence, it would very likely be the sun. Well, I would say for sure it'd be the sun. And that would give a lot of information. Obviously, there are outliers where people say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know. I would have never guessed that such and such individual was, you know, a Virgo," because this might be one of those cases. That's a perfect example because the rising sign can be seen as the calling card. And in this case, because Leo is such an overshadowing kind of a sign, a larger than life sign, you may really show that Leo side of yourself so much more than the Virgo. Now, because Virgo and Leo are adjacent signs, it's very possible that a sun sign in Virgo, you're very close to Leo. You might be born on like uh, August 23rd, and you're like 1 degree of Virgo, and so you might really have that cusp action going big time because Leo is a fire sign and very, very extroverted and things like that. Or you might have personal planets in Leo because it is an adjacent sign to Virgo. And so you might have Mars in Leo. The moon can be any sign. So maybe you have another fire sign like Sagittarius or something like that. So there's so much that can enhance the fiery influence. And that will just obscure the Virgo qualities more and more. However, I will go out on a limb and say that this combination is probably very hardworking, a workaholic, especially if you have your Mars in either um, a Virgo or Leo. But even, if you have it in Virgo, then there's a good chance that it will form a conjunction with your sun sign, and that will be somebody who really values productivity in life and that sort of thing. So let's talk about the rising signs. So when you have Leo rising, you tend to, make an entrance. So people know that you come into rooms. Part of this is because you probably are on the loud side. Obviously, there's going to be some toning down of these qualities based on the inner planets that you possess, and that would include the sun, but other things as well. If your Mercury is in Virgo, you might be more toned down in terms of how you talk, maybe more dry, analytical. If your moon is in, I was going to say like Aquarius because I was thinking of something that is very like aloof. But that might not even be the best example because that's an opposing sign to Leo, and that might create its own sparks. Um, like an earth sign and it's kind of dry, like Virgo, for instance, or Capricorn. you might be toned down emotionally, but you still may have that side to yourself. If you grew up in a dysfunctional family, um, and those unicorns out there who didn't, congratulations. But I mean, where there was a lot going on, you might have been, they talk about the different roles that children play, and they always have like the mascot, and that could be the child who's really funny, or they're the one who is, I would say in your case, you'd be the entertainer who kind of distracts everybody from the problems that are going on. Um, because I really feel that the rising sign is indicative of the child's role in the family. And sometimes when the sun sign and the rising sign are quite different, it could mean that you didn't really fit into that family of origin. So sometimes that's like a coping mechanism in order to do so. So if there was a lot of drama and then you kind of mimic that, but as you get older, and I feel like the first Saturn return around the age of 30 is the time when the rising sign starts to fade into the background. Not, totally. You could still have some of those mannerisms, and even appearance wise. But in terms of it being front and center, I think that when you're younger, you may, present more as a Leo and then become more like the Virgo as you get older. So that would indicate kind of dropping drama from your life or not needing as much attention. Um, Sometimes people want attention because they are being ignored, for whatever reason. There's a lot going on, and there's just not the energy to give to the child. Even though I'm not a parent, I do think that children who are acting up, a lot of times it is because they are trying to get attention, even if it's of the negative variety. It's better than nothing. And so that might have been something that you did as well. With fire signs, there tends to be a lot of defiance, rebellion, because fire is very individualistic. But you may be one of those people who, as a child, was in the school play or otherwise enjoyed some sort of artistic pursuits, especially if it involved the performing arts, meaning that you were on stage. Because you can paint a painting, but you're not going to be in front of an audience when you're doing that. So that's something that Leo really relishes. And it could be one of those situations where as you get older, you become less interested in that because you don't need, first of all, you don't need the attention, and maybe you're getting more into this work mode. And so that could be, there's a possibility that that could be a danger because you may place importance on um, certain types of work and think that almost like the the arts, whether you're in music or theater or what have you, that is, frivolous, or that is a hobby that is not meant to be a person's main work. Now, obviously, there are people who are Virgos who are actors and don't think like that. I'm just saying that if it wasn't something that you actually pursued as a career, you may leave it as a hobby as you get older. And in terms of dressing, I was joking because if I don't know, did I do the opposite of this? I'm not sure if I did the opposite of this version. But like if Virgo is in the rising sign, the person may dress in a rather nondescript way. Because Virgo is not attention seeking. So it could be the Leo person who comes across in a very ordinary sort of way because they don't want to attract attention. In this case, the Virgo person may be very flashy in their dress. So I joke about the Vegas type of dress style. So I've never been to Las Vegas, but I've seen footage of it. It's not a place that I would personally be. That wouldn't be my first choice to go because it's not my style. Um, Maybe because I have the moon in Virgo. I don't know. There's a lot of lights. It's that kind of flashy atmosphere. And if you think of somebody who is a performer, the kind of clothing they tend to wear is very bright and shiny because they're on stage. They're larger than life. So sequins and glitter and silver, red, gold, those kind of gold lame. That's to me the color. Now, obviously, somebody may not dress like that on a daily basis, but there's that theatrical element to it. Definitely, bright colors may be your thing. Um, as far as the sun sign goes, with Virgo, this might be more when we talk about career, less the rising sign, more the sun sign. So with Virgo, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, we have to assume any kind of teaching position is going to appeal the educational field. I guess it would probably be best to say education field. Um, the field of education. Also, Mercury can deal with news, information. So the media, especially journalism, because there's that sense of just the facts, ma'am. Um, and if this is the case, you may even be interested in being an anchor person where you get to be a performer and deliver the news at the same time. In terms of other types of work, anything to do with health might be something that is appealing to you because Virgo rules the house of health, the sixth house. I would personally say that you might be interested in natural health because I always associate Virgo with herbalism, so maybe homeopathy or being a natural type of I never know how to say it, naturopath. Um, but some of those types of you know choices can maybe they come later on after you have been in the mainstream health field, and then you kind of refine that, and you after you have seen what works and what doesn't work, then you may go down a different path. In terms of love, I feel that this combination isn't necessarily romantic. I do feel that when you're younger, you may be more inclined to get involved, maybe even having a lot of affairs. I find that Leo is an overtly lusty sign, but Virgo is a low key lusty sign because Virgo is the maiden, so there's this sense of purity associated with Virgo. However, um, Virgo is an earth sign, and I just know from my experiences that Virgo can be quite lusty in their own way, but they may appear to be very chaste. Leo is that combination of, to me, lusty, but also wanting attention. And when I say lusty, I mean like a high sex drive. But there's also that desire to be desirable. So that can play into it. The ego sometimes can play into it and make that person pursue others so that they can feel that sense of being admired. Um, Leo is easily flattered, and when you're younger and that Leo energy is more influencing your behavior, that may show up that way for you. Now, in terms of the long term, because your sun sign is in Virgo, it's very possible that you have Venus in Virgo. Now, you could have it in Leo, and that would make you more romantic, or in Libra, same. But if it is in Virgo, then you're more pragmatic when it comes to love. In other words, you think that there is a function for love, maybe as companions, helpmates, whatever you want to call it, and you might tend to be more um, practical and less romantic. But in terms of like whether you can have a long term relationship, for sure. Um, I don't see why you wouldn't. I don't think that Virgo people are, unfaithful as a sign. I think that you can be very dedicated to someone. And again, you may have this Venus influence that is a lot more romantic and prone to stay in relationships as well. But in and of itself, I don't see Virgo as a jealous sign, a sign prone to drama. You could have, there is a possibility of having Venus and or Mars in Scorpio, and that will make you a little bit more complicated. Of course, you could have the moon in Scorpio too. Could make you a little bit more of a complicated lover, if you will, because you may um, be a little bit, suspicious in love. I'm trying to figure out a way that you may have trust issues when it comes to your love life. And this would have to do with other things that you've experienced in life that have led you to think this. So, in any case, that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.